We alluded to this in our introduction of dictionaries. We will now talk about accessing values in dictionaries. So, how we do that is we reference the keys, as we mentioned. So, what we do is we declare here, well, not declare, rather, we specify here the name of our dictionary variable. And then it may be a bit confusing, but here, when we're accessing dictionary values, we use square brackets. When we're creating a dictionary, we use curly brackets. When we're accessing dictionary values, we use square brackets. So we have our variable of our dictionary, square brackets, and then the name of the key. In this instance, the name of the key is a string called name. There's another way that we can reference values from a dictionary, and that's with the dictionary get method. And that's used for safe access. So we could say the name of our dictionary variable dot to invoke a method from our dictionary class, and dot get, and then parentheses, name. So that's our key name. So the benefit of using this get method is that if we don't, and our key does not exist, let's say I'm trying to reference a key named Adam in my person dictionary variable, but there is no key named Adam. All we have in this dictionary is a key with the identifier as a name, a string of name, and the value is parth. So I'm trying to say, is there a key called Adam? Well, there's not, so we'll throw an error. But if we use the .get method, it's the same thing as this, except it would return none instead of throwing an error, which can be useful. So I want you to be aware of that. We can also specify if a key is not found. If our key Adam is not found, we can specify as the second parameter of this get function what text we want to return in that instance, what value we want to return. So we can say not found. So if we then try to access the Adam key, which does not exist, we only have a name key, then we'll return the text not found. So that's another benefit of using the .get method with dictionaries. In all reality, probably this is the way that you will, this is the way that you'll probably do it most of the time, but there will be instances where we can use the get method. And when I say most of the time, I mean by using the square brackets and then the value of a key. So let's hop over here and look at an example. Let's create a dictionary, and let's call it zoo. We'll make this a little bit bigger here. Let's say zoo, and then remember not parentheses, curly braces. And then we have our key. Let's call it lions. And then a colon, which will separate our key from our value. Let's say we have 5 lions. And then a comma for the next entry in our dictionary. Let's say, and we don't need a space, however, it's good practice to have a space. We can say elephants. Let's say we have 2 elephants. And I'll make this a bit smaller to fit some more. Let's say we have a zookeeper whose name is Sydney. Okay, so that's our dictionary. Now, if I want to reference, let's say I want to reference this Sydney. How do I do that? By the key name. So we can say print zoo, our variable name of our dictionary, square brackets, and then the value of our key. I know that's confusing how I keep saying that. I do apologize, because we have name value or key value. Key value. So the key is what I mean to say there. So let's say zookeeper. I'm going to save this text file and run it. See what we printed out? Sydney. We printed out the value. The value. We could also print the number of lions. I'm saving it, and let's run it again. We see there's 5 lions. Or we could do elephants. I'm just referencing these keys in the dictionary. There's 2 elephants, as we see. So that's how we access elements in a dictionary. We reference them. We reference the values by the name of the key. One other thing I want to point out is that if we have our dictionaries can and usually will span multiple lines. I've done it on a single line for simplicity, but we can also, for ease of readability, I should say, we can hit an enter here, tab things over, hit an enter here, where this bottom bracket lines up with our variable name, and then each element we have indented like that. Remember, the last element does not have a comma, by the way, because there's nothing else to add. So commas in between each element, except we don't have a comma at the end after our last element. So let's see if this gives us the same output. And it does. We're printing out how many elephants there are. So you can see this is a little bit easier to read because we know that each element, each key value pair is on its own line. So we will use that convention a lot. All right, let's move on to our next lecture.